in the work we do, there is this experience and understanding of extraordinary ground of our human condition, an extraordinary spiritual and physical support of our human condition that supports our physiology and our being here, that Dr. Sutherland, the originator of work from the osteopathic tradition, called the breath of life. And the breath of life is sometimes experienced quite extraordinarily in clinical work as a heart-opening presence, a presence that holds our suffering and that connects us to a deeper source. And when that emerges, there's something there very much about the movement of the heart, about compassion, about the resonance with something much deeper than our pain and suffering.
Next question. What is health?
There is this understanding of health in the work which we do as something deeper than just whether I am feeling healthy or ill. There's this understanding, no matter what conditions are present for me, what conditions, even the most desperate kinds of states, whether psychological states or the physiological conditions, that underneath all that, there is still an expression of health, centering us, maintaining our being here in our body, in this world, in the best possible way, given the conditions that are within me. And that health and our experience and understanding is at work even at the moment of death, which is a moment of passing and transition. So it's a very different understanding of health than our cultural understanding, which is I'm either healthy or ill, or there is illness in me just now. In our sense and understanding of health, and we work directly with this in our work to help connect clients to that deeper sense of health, that there is always health at work, holding, centering, manifesting the best possible state given what is happening within me, what conditions are present, what pathologies are present. There is still this underlying health that is with us from the moment of conception right through our life to the moment we pass away. And one of the really deep aspects of the work we do is about a reconnection to this health, even in the midst of very, very dire circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Next question. What is sickness?
Then we come then to the territory of, well, what is illness? What is sickness? And, you know, we can't have life, we can't incarnate in this form of ours without incarnating into conditions. We have a conditional existence. And hopefully we can be with and in those conditions in the best possible way, given my life history, my early experience, what I have taken on in life, the conditions I have to meet in life, my physiology, how it has to express that. So there's always conditions. And the health that I spoke about earlier is centering all that. But there are times when the conditions will manifest in ways that are painful, that generate pathology, that take us away from whatever we may think is ideal. The reality is everything is relative. We're in this world as best as we can. And the quality of being here is really an inquiry. Can I rest in a deeper sense of presence, in a deeper quality of connection to the source of my life in the midst of these conditions? And if I can connect to that deeper sense of health, of presence, there may be the opportunity of resolving some of the conditions that are generating the pathology or the pain.
Thank you. So the next question would be, why do we get sick?
So that might bring us to the territory of why do we get ill? And it's just very, very much part of life. The body we inhabit it is conditional. We're prone in some ways to old age and illness, as the Buddha maintained in his teachings. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's inevitable. The question is, how can I be within these conditions? How can I express health in the best possible way? How can I resolve the emergence of pathology because of that which is unresolved within me, whether that is past history, trauma, toxins, pathogens? All of that generates forces within my system and has repercussions. Can I connect to the health, and at a more physiological level, can I process what I need to maintain that health as a physiological expression of being here?
Thank you. Next question. How does craniosacral therapy act in the reestablishment of health?
So that may bring us to the question about the work. I have been teaching for a long time a certain form of craniosacral therapy that has become known around the world as the biodynamic craniosacral therapy, or craniosacral biodynamics. And how does that help at times our mind-body system return to health, return to that basic ground of health, really? And if you haven't experienced the work, what you'll find is that the practitioner uses a very light contact, a very light touch. So it is a hands-on therapy form. It may feel like the therapist isn't really doing much. It's quite extraordinary, yet so much happens. Part of the work is the therapist's orientation to that health, which we spoke about earlier, that health which is never lost. And we learn to hold the conditional forces and the conditional patterns in the system that they generate, like compression, pain, tensions, etc., the pathologies that may be connected with that. We learn to hold an awareness of the conditional processes in the physiology and the anatomy within the context of that deeper health that the breath of life generates. We can perceive that as a deep primary respiratory expression throughout cells and tissues and fluids. We learn to have a relationship to much deeper, what Sutherland called tide-like expressions of health in the system, and we relate the conditions that we find in the conditions within the body to that health. So we learn to hold, as a practitioner, a relationship to the pain, the suffering, the pathology in the context of a deeper health. And something happens. It is an interchange that occurs at a deep level where some of the forces generating the suffering, the pain, start to resolve themselves. Resolved at a very deep level by the inherent health in the system. So that's the intention of the work. It takes a lot of training, experience. It takes a lot of practice and supervision to be able to settle into a state of presence as a practitioner, to orient and hold the client in that state of presence, to be able to perceive the deeper health and as forces at work in the human system, which are at work from the time we were an embryo organizing us. And we hold all that in the context of the anatomy, the physiology, the patterning in the system. And it can take us, both practitioner and client, into very deep and wonderful healing territories.
Thank you very much. So one last question. What's the meaning of the term biodynamics, and what is the inherent intelligence of the system?
So that may bring us to a last territory. What do we mean when we say biodynamics, and what is the nature of the inherent healing forces that we form a relationship to? Well, from the term biodynamics is used by many people and in many ways. We started using the term biodynamic craniosacral therapy back in the early 1990s. It comes for me, it comes from the work of an osteopath who followed Dr. Sutherland on after Sutherland passed away, named Dr. Roland Becker, and he wrote beautifully about a biodynamic potency. Sutherland used the term potency to mean the inherent life force, the organizing principle within the fluids that manifest in the embryo, that are present with us throughout life. And one thing we learned to do as a practitioner in the work is to hold an orientation, an awareness of these biodynamic forces at work and the biodynamics of the system in terms of its physiology, its anatomy, its healing processes. And so we incorporated that term, biodynamics, into craniosacral therapy and used the term biodynamic craniosacral therapy, where, again, the intention isn't so much to orient to the tensions and patterns in the system, although that's important, but to more deeply orient to the forces that are generating those patterns and the deeper forces of health, of primary respiration, of biodynamic potency, that's centering all that and has the potential for healing, for resolving those forces generating the pathology and the pain in our system.
So, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I hope that was of interest to you all. Thank you.